Welcome back, hustlers, to another episode of Resell Radio. My name's Athan, and I'm one of the co-founders of Hustle, a business that helps Depop sellers do what they do better. We provide the information, the inspiration, and resources you need to grow a successful shop. I was lucky enough today to speak to Becky, the founder of Miss Festival. She's managed to rank as high as 6th in the world and rack up over 4,000 sales in a short time that she's been on the app. Really useful conversation where she shares her journey, some of the experiences she had, and a lot of useful stuff that I think you'll be able to apply to your own Depop shop. If you want to check her out, her Instagram is going to be in the bio, as is our website with loads of other resources on it if you want to check that out too. Make sure that if there's anything in the video you like, let us know what it is in the comment below. If you found something useful, then we can clip that out, put it on Instagram and share it with other people. So if there's a specific bit that you found helpful, let us know what it is in the comments below. Without saying anything more, let's go on to the episode.
I was doing in months like May, June and August, July and August, where it's like top festival season. I was raking in like 8K and they're working at top banks. And I was
revenue?
It was 10K, 10 to 15K turnover, and that leveled out to about 40-50%. So
that makes complete sense where you want to move away from Depop then, because when you're making $1,000 a month, 10% fee doesn't really mean that much. But when you start pushing up to 8K,
I remember getting in my like monthly charts from them and seeing how much money Depop had earned from me, and I'm like, oh my god, like it adds up quickly. Quite a shock.
Because I was having a conversation with someone the other day about, I see a lot of sellers move away onto a website, and I think, are they moving away onto a website because it's the right move for their business, or are they moving away because they get to have their own website and it's a bit of an ego thing where they feel like an entrepreneur and they're running a real business? Because really, for most sellers, that 10% fee is not a lot to ask. If you're making $1,000 and they're only taking 100, you're not going to replace what Depop are doing for £100. So when you're starting to rack up numbers like you're doing, then fair enough, it's justified wanting to move away. So is that the reason then you wanted to move to your own website and start Miss Festival?
I think it's a bit of both, really. Like when you see the fact like Depop have earned so much money from your account, you think like, oh, that number, I could reinvest so much in my company, like marketing, stock, new suppliers, models, everything, like the amount, and offices and stuff and employees. Like you realize that the profit margins on big fashion brands, the reason why they're so high is because they've got to cover offices, employees, like 100%. They reinvest it all. But I also do think that like having a website that gives you much better brand identity, and you're more independent. You're not relying on one platform. It's a completely different revenue stream. So that's also really important.
100%. It's one of the things we think about as well. Like right now, Hustle is very orientated around Depop, because I think it's good to start small and specific. Depop might not be here in 5 years' time. It might have been replaced by something else. So if you're just a Depop seller and you want it to be something more than making a bit of money on the side, which is fine, but you want to run a real business, then you're right. Being dependent on one app could be a problem. I mean, Instagram was only invented in 2014? It's only been here like 6 years, 7 years. It's going to disappear one day. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be relevant anymore. And the same thing for Depop.
So Depop, So I completely agree with that.
So I think the problem when we hear these kind of stories is people think like, wow, 2 years time, it's taken you a year, you've got 75 sales in a day, everything's blown up quickly, and people enjoy that stuff. But at the same time, people listening want to learn something that they can apply to their own business. So what do you think was the reason that you saw such big results so quickly?
I think I was like one of the lucky ones. Like I feel like this does partly come down to luck. I think the fact that I've got a full-time job in marketing, despite the fact that I didn't when I first started, I think as I've been learning as I go, like the skills that I've learned in marketing have definitely facilitated my success on the app. I think researching as well, a lot of it is actually research. Finding out like what are the trends, what is selling on Depop, what are other people selling, and also the price. Because there's a couple of other sellers out there which are selling the same products as me. So I've got to constantly keep an eye on them, make sure that a customer's going to come to me and not to them. what else would I'd
So what
say
are some of the things you do to make sure that that happens, that people are picking you?
I think you've got to know how Depop works. Like there's some skills, there's some secrets to the app for sure. Like the way that you phrase your descriptions will depend what search your item will come up on. So it's like SEO on websites, but and it's literally doing the same on Depop. Like if you put in like a pretty cool funky name for I don't know, I'm gonna give an example of one of my own products. So I've got like these sequin bras that I sell on Depop, and I was marketing them at first called like the Ellie bra, because my friend who's a model was modeling them for me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give her like a bit of like, try and market them in like a unique way. And then I realized like, oh my god, these are really not selling. Why aren't these selling? And I realized it's because I put up at the top like the Ellie bra. If you put in sequin bra straight up, first couple of words in your Depop description, you're more likely to be at the top of search results. And also refreshing your feed is like a number one secret of mine to boosting your sales like straight away.
Definitely.
Because obviously as you search something, the items that have been posted the most recent are the ones that are coming to the top, and people aren't going to be on the app scrolling for hours and hours and hours looking for an item that was posted like 40 weeks ago.
100%. It helps so much. How many times do you refresh a day?
In summer, I feel like things have been very quiet for me this year because I've been focusing on my career, but I would normally
COVID would have had an impact as well, because Miss Festival, there's not any festivals to go to, so
definitely. But it has been it has actually been really good for me, like not having any sales, because it's made me like take a step back and realize like, where do I want to go next? How do I want to take this further? Like, is this something that I really want to do? And also to like be in a pandemic and then not have any sales. If I'd actually launched it into a business and not had any sales, and I had employees' wages that I needed to cover, that it's like a real lesson learned, really. So it's made me realize like I can't just focus on festival clothing and events clothing. Like I need to start looking at collections, or like loungewear at the moment's doing really well because everyone's at home. So keeping your brand in place but in different collections is definitely important.
So I want to dial back to something you just said, because you said that a part of the reason you've been successful is luck, but I think it's clear from a lot of the stuff you're saying that you've put in the work to make it happen. So to some extent, of course, you have got lucky. Luck always plays an element, but at the same time, I think there's an element of humility to what you're saying, because you said that, oh well, you just happened to have a marketing job which helped, but you also told me in an earlier conversation that you didn't know anything about marketing going into that job. You've effectively taught yourself marketing. Why don't you tell us a bit about Miss Festival then? So you're doing well on the Depop, and I think that the takeaway from that for me was that a real focus on marketing, learning the craft, has a big impact on Depop, which I didn't really understand before, to be fair, because I never really saw it as a space to market on. I always saw myself as kind of a salesman, and any research I've done has been in that space, but it's working for you, so it's definitely something I'll need to look at. But yeah, why don't you tell us about Miss Festival then? What are your ambitions there?
So many. So Miss Festival I view as like just like a sassy, energetic, colourful brand. Like it's bright clothing, really like sort of gives off like the Y2K bad girl vibes. I feel like that's definitely a trend at the moment. But so I'm developing a website at the moment, and there's some really exciting partnerships coming up. So I'm working with Miss Swimsuit UK, who's going to actually shoot my first collection. So that will be really exciting. But at the moment,
how did you get in contact with her?
Because of my ex-boyfriend.
Hey, so
yeah. So just like friends of his, and I just literally just messaged her because we've met a couple of times. I was like, look, I'm trying to launch my own company. You're doing so well, you've got a good platform, I think we could both like work off each other. And so she, just being like the amazing generous person that she is, has just offered to do it for a discounted price with her personal photographer. So that's really useful, and I look forward to seeing how that comes out. But oh my god, like so many plans. I'm really bad because, well, I guess it's not bad, I guess it's quite good in a way, but I have a business plan and it's literally like a 5,000 word document of all my ideas.
This is where you and I differ. That's so I used to be a project manager. That's the apprenticeship I did. So I came from a very like, let's get the 50-page plan out in detail, spend months on it and then deliver. And since I've left that, that's not for me anymore, man. I'll just wake up, what's the to-do list today, see what we can get done by the end of the week, and then I'll think of something else. I just like the freedom of it,
Yeah. No, I always think writing down my ideas, no matter like if they're really weird or whatever they are, like write them down because you never know when you're going to go back to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to develop a sustainable fashion range. So that's something that I'm working on at the moment, because I think that is the way the fashion industry is moving. That's like the whole purpose of Depop is like circular fashion and like recycling and shopping secondhand. So I'm a bit of like an intruder on the Depop app really, because I'm buying and selling. I guess with like vintage wear it's different because you're buying like used clothes already to sell on, but I'm literally buying straight from manufacturers. But
yeah, so this is one of the questions I had for you, in that, I think one of the reasons Depop has blown up recently is most industries are saying that second-hand clothes are about to get way bigger than first-hand clothes.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what impact you think that's going to have on your business, because, buying clothes first-hand is working for you now, but as Depop and second-hand clothes are getting bigger, do you think that's going to be a problem for Miss Festival?
I don't see it as a problem because I've already got plans to move away from, like the fast fashion whole idea. So that's why I'm developing a sustainable range, which I think is really important. But I've always liked the idea of upcycling clothes. I think that's really cool, and that's also become really popular. But I can't sew. I can't sew to save my life, so I just don't think that's. I've seen some people
clearly they've mashed up some £5 t-shirt, and there's this girl that takes a t-shirt, cuts it into a crop top, turns the bottom half into shorts, and then sells just like £5 Nike for like fucking £100. And if I had a sewing machine, I would be doing that shit. Have you seen them?
Yeah, I can't remember what her page is called though, but I know exactly who you're on about. If you're on about,
she's pretty well known for doing it. I think fucking hell, if I had a sewing machine, £5 t-shirts into £100 sets, but I just don't know how to do that shit, man. I'm not down to that.
Not neither. Exactly. No, I don't.
But no, upcycling is an interesting way to go. I definitely want to get someone on the podcast who does the sewing and all that sort of things to see.
I think that would be really interesting.
So just in general then, what advice would you give a Depop seller who was in your position 2 years ago who wants to achieve something similar to you?
I think I'd go back on the points that I said earlier, like research before you go into what you want to sell, like work out what's trending, what is selling, the competition, and how saturated that is on Depop, because I know like jewelry on Depop is really hard to try and grow on currently, just because there's so many accounts doing it, and it's so difficult to try and market yourself in a unique way unless you think really outside 100%. The box.
I've seen the same thing with Nike. I think a lot of people start with it because it's a familiar brand, everyone knows it, but there's so many fucking people selling Nike. You've got to be very good to get to the top of the search listings for that stuff,
Definitely. And I think it definitely comes down to photography and marketing, especially with Depop. Like the first thing you see when you go to search for an item is the photograph before you even read the description. That is the first thing that makes you click on that. So you've got to make sure your photography is top notch, or you've got some sort of Photoshop background that's going to make them want to click on it. Like it's got to be different. And I feel like Depop's audience is a bit like, they're edgy, aren't they? Like even the way Depop markets themselves on Instagram is super edgy.
I know what you're saying. Green trousers and yellow t-shirts and those weird fucking sunglasses that are over. Exactly. And here's me in my fucking Trapstar t-shirt and a do-rag, but anyway.
And you just take the piss out of the glasses that I sell on for Depop. What are you trying to say?
There you have it, some advice from one of the highest ranking sellers in the world. I found that conversation really useful, particularly what Becky said about marketing your Depop shop. That's something that I'm going to have to focus on a lot more instead of just the clothes that I'm getting up on my shop. She also opened my eyes a little bit to what's possible as a Depop seller. I think I definitely put some blockers on myself as I've progressed in my journey, assuming that you can only make a certain amount of money. Well, she's testament to the fact that with some hard work and the right strategy, a lot is possible on the Depop marketplace. As I said at the beginning, if you found any of that useful, then let us know in the comments below. We create this content so that we can help you grow your shop. So if there's anything that you found that was beneficial, let us know what it was and we'll keep making more of it. Hustlers, keep working hard. We believe in you and wish you the best of luck.